So with that, now I get to wear my Israel hat again. Okay. So this week in our Torah portion, Truma, we read about the commandment to set the menorah in the Mishkan, the tabernacle that accompanied the people through the wilderness. When the first and second temples were built, the menorah held pride of place within them. Around the year 70, the Roman army that destroyed the second temple carried the menorah home as a prize of war. To this day, in the Forum, you can see the Arch of Titus with its depiction of the lampstand. The arch was Rome's way of saying that the Jewish commonwealth that had celebrated the menorah was no more. Almost 2,000 years later, in 1948, a Jewish commonwealth was restored with the establishment of the State of Israel. In the seal of the state is a depiction of the menorah. It had risen from the marble of the Arch of Titus. But of course, the Israel that was born in 1948 is a very different place from the Jewish state that the Romans had conquered almost 1,900 years before. And by the same token, the state of Israel in 2019 is itself a very different place from the one proclaimed on a balcony in Tel Aviv 71 years ago. In 1948, Israel was at heart an egalitarian socialist society. As part of that, it had room for only one type of Israeli, and really only focused on its Jewish citizens. Many changes have taken place since then. Israel is a much more diverse society, economically, culturally, and ethnically. It has become one of the most dynamic countries in the world. Its hallmarks today are change and innovation. That was the Israel that a group of 13 rabbis and 2 spouses visited last week as part of a tour sponsored by the Central Conference of American Rabbis, the Reform Rabbinical Association. The title of the trip was Israel, Innovation, Change, and Creativity. We were in Tel Aviv, Beersheba, and Jerusalem. We were in the West Bank. We went to cultural sites and waste disposal plants. We talked some and listened much more. I couldn't begin to tell you everything that we did, but I want to share 3 highlights of this trip with you. Max Simonovsky is a 20-something entrepreneur. Well, there's nothing unusual about this. Israel is ranked #1 in the world in startups per capita. But Simonovsky's startup is noteworthy. In 2017, he and a few others founded Soapy. Almost 2.5 billion people throughout the world get sick every year from lack of access to hygiene. Most because they can't wash their hands. The most evident problem is in India. Many Indians realize the importance of washing your hands, but they just can't do it. In much of the country, adequate clean water exists only 2 months out of every year. So Simonovsky and his Soapy team developed technology to pull hydrogen and oxygen molecules out of the air and combine them to make water. They developed a soap that needed very little water to work. And then they placed their units in schools, clinics, and community centers. For several reasons, these units have even found a home in the food services industry in Western countries, including the U.S. The money that Soapy makes selling its units to these businesses is used to subsidize the cost of placing units in India and other underdeveloped regions. There's a traditional prayer for ritual hand washing before meals. Blessed are you, eternal our God, ruler of the universe, who has made us holy with your commandments and commanded us al netilat yadayim, which we can translate as concerning the washing of the hands. Because of Soapy, that prayer has become alive again. In 1999, Nati Gruberg was a 29-year-old high-tech worker. He liked sports on TV. One day, as he was riding his motorcycle, he was seriously injured in an accident. He lost the use of his legs. During his rehabilitation, he was introduced to Ekkarim. Founded by disabled veterans of the 1973 Yom Kippur War, Etgarim focuses on something called adventure-based therapy. It takes people with disabilities outside, gives them challenges that involve an element of risk, and helps them grow by meeting these challenges. Indeed, the word Etgarim means challenges. Nadi took up hand cycling. According to his wife, it made him feel like a whole person again. But not only that, he got to be very good at it. He became the Israeli champion. He started to train for the Special Olympics in Beijing in 2008. He trained 9 times a week in all sorts of weather, focusing on the chance for Olympic glory. The very day before the race, something went wrong, and a policeman allowed a vehicle on the course. Nadi was hit again. His dreams were gone. Until they weren't. Nadi didn't win an Olympic medal, but in 2012 he did participate in the London Special Olympics and came in 7th. At 40, he looks forward to participating for the first time in the New York City Marathon this coming fall. Explaining why he kept at it, Nadi had a basic question. Am I going to be the victim of my life or the hero of my story? Etgarim helps people be the heroes of their story. Mariuma Ben Yosef was originally from Israel, but she grew up here in Boston. At age 14, she ran away from home and lived on the streets of our city for 2 years, sleeping on park benches and eating out of garbage cans. She pulled her life together, returned to Israel, served in the army, and had a child, but she never forgot what she had been through. She started to take in teenagers. Eventually, in 1984, she set up a place to do this. She called it Shanti House, after the Sanskrit word for peace and tranquility. There are now 2 of these facilities, one in Tel Aviv and the other in the Negev, where we went. They've welcomed over 46,000 youth. Their reported success rate is 80%, that is 4 out of every 5 teenagers who come into the program turn their own lives around. When asked what makes their program work, one of the directors told us, "We come from a place of mercy, not pity. By coming from mercy, when we're saying to what we're saying to the kids is that you're like us." So the first thing we ask them is, what's your dream? They're teenagers who come from abusive homes, who have been thrown out of their homes, who have left to escape parents who are drug users and can no longer care for them. Many of them had never been asked about their dreams. They're treated as human beings, as like us. The kids know they have a home. They're expected to keep it clean. One of the teenagers we met described Shanti House as being like a palace. I thought he was comparing it to life on the street. Compared to that, it was a palace. But then we went on a tour. It was a palace. Those kids understood that a gift like this deserves to be looked after. It was also a spotless palace. They are like us. The director who spoke to us asked, what do children need? And his answer, and Mariuma's answer is, before anything else, someone who sees them. They need someone who doesn't look past them in the street, but sees real human beings. It's pretty simple. As he told us, the power of Shanti House is to love your neighbor as yourself. Shanti House, Etgarim, Sophie. 3 examples of today's Israel. Amos Oz, the great Israeli author who died a few weeks ago, wrote a piece called Loving the Land. I'd like to share it with you. The land of Israel is not a museum of God. No place is a museum of God. No person and no inanimate object is a thing of worship. It is permissible to both touch and change these things on the condition that you yourself are prepared to be touched and be changed. The condition is love. I know it is impossible to educate to love. You cannot educate someone to love the land, nor can you educate someone to love the scenery. With love, you can infect someone else. Sometimes love can be awakened. Sometimes, but not with a strong hand, not with an outstretched arm, and not with burning anger. Rather, through an approach of mutuality. You come to a place, a hill, the desert, a spring, a house. You can change it and make your mark upon it. But it is also important to be open and give it the opportunity to leave its mark on you. Israel is not a museum of God. It is not a museum of any kind. It is alive with change. But it has been touched by the divine, and if you let it, you can touch it, and it will touch you as well. Give it the opportunity to leave its mark on you. Give it the opportunity to leave its mark on you. When Moses is instructed to build the menorah, he is told, "And you shall make it 7 lamps, and its lamps shall be mounted and give light in front of it." Its lamps shall be mounted and give light in front of it. What I reported to you about my trip is not all of the trip, and it certainly is not all of Israel. Its joys, its sorrows, its triumphs, its tragedies. It is not all of Israel, any more than the menorah was all of the Mishkan, or the Mishkan was all of the Jewish story. But Shanti House and Etgarim and Sopi are part of Israel, as is the menorah. The light of the menorah, the light that appeared to have left forever with Titus's army, it's still there. It can be awakened as love can be awakened. And Israel can still leave its mark on us. King Yehi Ratzon, be this God's will. You'll find Aleinu on page 282. Please rise physically or spiritually. Page 287. Together. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding, loved each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand, but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace. Page 291. There are stars up above, so far away we only see their light long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. We remember this week during the period of Shiva, the first week of mourning, the names of Joan Ferris, grandmother of Emily Ferris, Cheryl Sidey, wife of Robert Sidey. We recall during the period of Shloshim, the first 30 days of mourning, the name of Susan Rosen, wife of Mark Rosen, mother of Michaela and Max Rosen. We recall during the period of Shana, the first year of mourning, the names of David Ferris, father of Emily Farley, William Thompson, stepfather of Grace Cooper, Ann Cutler, mother of Mark Cutler, Emmanuel Block, father of Abby Block, Loretta Sims, mother of Tony Sims, James Penwell, father of Lynn Rubenstein. And this week we recall the yard sites, the anniversaries of the passing of Rose Chandler, grandmother of Melissa Folsom, Saul Cutler, father of Mark Cutler and grandfather of Adam Cutler, Rosalie Garber, grandaunt of Stacy Bushy, Miriam Gerstein, grandmother of Shireen Bohr, Norman Rubin, grandfather of Michael Rubin, Mary Schultz, mother of Bennett Schultz, Mildred Silverman, grandmother of Audrey Vanuker, Rose Vanuker, great-grandmother of Ronald Vanuker. Are there others? The memories of all of them are with us. Our griefs and sympathies are mingled as we now rise as a community to praise God and pray for the coming of God's rule. Mourner's Cottage can be found on page 294. Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention, of course, Cheryl is also Laura's mother. So, 294. Yitgadal v'yitgadash Shemei Rabbah, v'alma divrach hirutei v'amlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, v'agala u'vizman kari v'imru amen. Yehi Shemei Rabbah mevarach le'olam mololmei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal Shemei Tekudusha B'rechu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, da'amiran v'alma v'imru amen. Yehi Shalama Rabba min Shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. May the source of peace, Send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved. And together let us say, Amen. Please be seated.
Shabbat Shalom. I know, see, that's why I move it. Thank you, Rabbi. I'm Stacy Bushy, second vice president here at Temple Etzmaim, and on behalf of my co-board host, Margot Rivelis, and the entire board, Shabbat Shalom and welcome. We would like to thank you, Dave, for not only donating your time and preparing for tonight, but also for being our song leader this evening. As you came in, you hopefully noticed the banner announcing the Temple Israel trip in April of 2020. It could be the trip of a lifetime. Registration is now open, so please go to the trip website for more information, and you can link to it via the QR code as well on the banner. Or you can talk to Rabbi Alpert or to Rick and Ruth Hiller. And this evening, please enjoy some pictures of Rabbi's recent trip there on our TV screen in the community room during ONEG, which is why this intermission of announcements this week in our pilot program, because they're not on the screen. So this week, the calendar includes some of the following. February 9th, tomorrow, is Torah study at 8:30 here at the Temple, and no Hebrew is required. Sunday, February 10th, do you wonder what a scribe does? Don't miss this opportunity to see. We didn't have that interaction going on with us. Don't miss this opportunity to see a scribe in action this Sunday, and there's more information on the website about everything that's going on. And Friday, February 15th, is Erev Shabbat services led by our own president, Richard Schulman, 7:30 here at the Temple. And now for a couple of upcoming events and other temple information. Want to learn more about how Rabbi Alpert went from being a lawyer to a rabbi? Yes. Check out a short clip as he recounts his journey. The link is on our website. Due to overwhelming requests, the Brotherhood is holding another bowling night. I think it should be Sisterhood versus Brotherhood bowling night. That's just my vote. That will be Monday, February 25th at 8 p.m. at Pins in Milford. Shalach Menot or sending food gifts to friends and family is one of our the four mitzvot performed on Purim. Through this project, you can participate in the sending of a beautiful gift bag to your friends and family. Every Temple Etzmaim member should have received an email with your own personal login for happypurim.com. Please contact Margot Rivelis with any questions, or if you did not receive it. Come hear about your fellow congregants' civil rights journey at Erev Shabbat services on Friday, March 1st. Our annual Purim party and mixed drink competition is Saturday, March 16th at 7 p.m. And then join us for an incredible evening of Purim celebrations on March 20th with our community supper, services, reading of the Megillah, our festive Purim spiel. Do we know the theme?
Yes, MASH.
MASH. Oh, I love it. All right. Interesting. And, of course, Hamantashen. This promises to be a wonderful evening for the entire family, and I hope to see you all there. Do you want to learn how to play? I have a lot of questions this evening. Do you want to learn how to play Mahjong or want to join the bi-monthly game? Yes. Email Margot again for more information. Please refer to the Temple website or email that you receive for more information about everything going on at the Temple. Shabbat Shalom.
Our closing song. We're doing Oseh Shalom? Okay. Oseh Shalom.
Oseh Shalom, Bimromav, Huyaseh Shalom, Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'himeru, Amen. Oseh Shalom, Bimromav, Huyaseh Shalom, Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'himeru, Amen. Oseh Shalom, Imramav, Uyaseh Shalom, Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'himeru, Amen.
Adonai v'yishmerecha, may God bless you and keep you. Yaher Adonai panav elecha v'chunecha, may God's face shine on you and be gracious to you. Sa Adonai panav elecha, v'yasein lecha shalom. May God's face be lifted up to you and grant you every blessing like I did, most especially blessing.
So you're not good sideways, you're only good forward? That's what I thought. Honey, I'm not good at all. Oh, that was all.